Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today is my annual home stretch goals video. This is something that I started originally as a one-off in 2018, which was the awful year of illness and surgeries, and it wasn't until the kind of last few months of the year that I felt like I could really do anything, and I wanted to set some goals for myself to feel like the year wasn't a complete write-off and see what I could do just with the last few months left. But it's now become just this annual thing. Sometimes we can get to this time of year and feel like, oh my goodness, the end of the year is so soon, there is no time left to do anything, or we can start looking back on the goals that maybe we set at the beginning of the year thinking, I've not done any of these, I'm a complete failure. But now it's time to just breathe, reset, reprioritize. Like, some of those goals might not even be important to you anymore. And so that is what we are doing today. I actually didn't set any big yearly goals this year, but I did set some goals that I wanted to achieve before I had my baby, Rowan. So that was kind of like the first 3-4 months of the year. And now we're looking at like the last 3 months of the year. So I have split this into work and personal goals. So let's just dive in. Work goals. First up is do Vlognukah. So last year, Vlognukah didn't happen because I was very ill from pregnancy and just did not have the capacity to make 8 extra videos towards the end of the year. But me and my team are on it. We're going to make Vlognukah happen this year, even though I'm working part-time. But I am very excited. Vlognukah is basically where I upload a video every day on this channel for the 8 days of Hanukkah. Because Hanukkah this year is a bit later, like I think the last day/night of Hanukkah is Christmas or around Christmas. And so what that means is that we need to have all of the videos filmed, edited, uploaded, and ready to go before we all finish for the Christmas Hanukkah holiday season. Next up, my goal is to rehouse doing it, which is my podcast. Things have happened, things have come to an end, and we are looking for a new place to host and distribute the podcast from. Also potentially looking for a new editor. If you know anyone, let me know. So that is something that me and my team are working on behind the scenes. And ideally, what I want is that we have everything in place so that come January, we're like good to go with our new platform, a new editor, and can just hit the ground running. This was certainly an unexpected thing to be dealing with when I came back from maternity leave, but it's fine. We just keep moving. It's okay. On the content theme, up until the end of the year, I want to still be posting weekly videos on both YouTube channels and have weekly podcast episodes going live. And then I also want to have a few videos and podcasts in the bank to post in the first week or 2 of January, so we're not completely stressed come the new year. Next up is a bit more of a vague goal, and I don't usually like vague goals. I like them to be concrete. However, this goal is to find a better work/childcare balance. Dan and I have said that as Rowan gets a bit older and can spend more time away from me, and I can spend more time away from him, that maybe we would start doing full days in childcare instead of the half days that we're doing now. Because basically, Rowan is doing 4 half days a week, and one kind of session that he does is 4 hours. But because of my toing and froing from picking him up and dropping him off, I basically get a 3-hour chunk of work. And then I'm trying to get work done around his naps. I'm also having to do some work in the evenings once Dan is back from work. And that's not really ideal for me. That's personally just not something that I want. I think there's always going to be an element of that with the kind of job that I have. I think once we kind of make a decision about maybe Rowan doing 2 or 3 full days a week in childcare, then things might get a bit easier, maybe, who knows? So that's something that I don't know if we'll be like tick, tick, complete. I have the perfect balance before the end of this year, but something that always thinking about, always talking about, and then maybe come the new year, we'll settle into a new routine. Who knows? Who knows? Told you it was vague. Turns out this next one is also vague. I've written, plan to read more workbooks. Hannah, what kind of goal is that? But basically, since having Rowan, I have no time for reading for work, which is a shame because look at all of these glorious books. Many of them I have not read and I really, really want to read, but that is time consuming. I do not have the time to read physical books. As we will get onto the personal goals later, audiobooks are my friend right now, but I only really gel with fiction in audio form when it comes to non-fiction books, things that are related to sex and relationships, things for work. I prefer a physical copy that I can underline and scribble in the margins in. Like, that is how I best consume that kind of information. So that's the problem, that's the dilemma. I want and need to read more physical non-fiction sex books, but I do not have the time. I have one current solution that could be a possibility, but like, I don't know how I feel about it, which is every so often taking a month off everything else. Hannah, what? Rowan still being in childcare and me using all of that time to read and basically having an input month, because my job is very much output, 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 and sometimes it can feel a bit dry if I don't refill the well of knowledge. So yeah, every so often do I take like a month sabbatical to read, or maybe just a week. I don't know, super vague. Because of Vlognukah though, this is not something that I will implement before the end of this year, but something that I want to think about a bit more and maybe try and figure out a plan for next year. Who knows? You'll see in my 2023 goals video if I figured something out. Next up, super simple goal. I want to continue posting reels. I've very much been enjoying making reels when I have made them, and they do seem to do well on Instagram. However, when I did my audience survey, which I'm going to do a whole video going through the results of that on Instagram, people self-reported not really liking reels, even though the views are really high on them, but the engagement is low, so Next up, this is something that also came out of my audience survey that some of you may be interested in, and that is me creating some Notion templates that you can use and download for yourself. So currently, things that I have made in Notion that could potentially be useful to other people are things like content schedules, like my YouTube videos manager database, the podcast manager database, and then also the weekly timetable of parent-baby activities for me and Rowan. I made one of those in the middle of the night breastfeeding. And then also, spoiler alert, I may have created a database for house hunting. Spoilers. So that is something that I want to figure out, creating like blank templates of those and then putting them up either like for patrons or like for sale, but just like for a couple of quid or something. I need to figure that out. Hopefully we'll have something to report back and show you before the end of this year. Once again, saying things out loud to hold myself accountable. Another thing that falls into the category of saying it out loud to hold myself accountable and into the category of this came out of the audience survey, so I want to do it, which is updating my highlights on Instagram. There were some suggestions of what highlights would be useful, and so I want to do a big like overhaul and create some new highlights and make it all look aesthetically pleasing so that when someone comes to my Instagram, they can know where to go and see useful things to look at and click on. If you've watched some of my goals videos before, or my home stretch goals videos, then you'll know that every so often I like to do kind of like a big career planning session, and I create these like big ideas dumps. Well, I haven't done one of those in a while, and so one of my goals before the end of this year is to actually do one of those, really sit down, take stock of everything, all of my priorities, and just kind of dump everything, like pie in the sky ideas or just like small little tweaks to day-to-day stuff, and then also obviously figure out what I want my 2023 goals to be. So I want to do a big career reflection planning session, just me and my notes. And then finally, in the work category, but also kind of blends into the personal, and that is to take a break over Christmas and New Year. Obviously, Rowan's childcare is closed for a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I should probably find that out over that time. And so I won't be able to work because I will be looking after him, but then also want to take some time off for Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year. Next up, we have the personal goals. So as I kind of spoiled in the previous section, one of my goals is move house, question mark, exclamation mark. I think we are dreaming if we are able to move house before Christmas. But a lot of the process will be happening during these next few months, on top of everything else we've got going on. This is not entirely what we expected to be happening. We thought that maybe we'd be moving next year, and maybe I'll do a video, maybe it could be a Vlognukah episode about why we're choosing to move house now, the process of like buying and selling at this time. So yeah, things are happening, things are moving along, la 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 la. Moving house is stressful, but fun. And then my next personal goal, just to throw a whole other thing in there, is to host Christmas. Now, this is something that we were planning on doing before we started the whole house hunting, house move process. So Christmas is locked in. Dan and I are hosting, whether that's in our current flat or in our new house. Who knows? Who knows? But Christmas is getting hosted and it's going to be great. So next up are some Rowan related personal homestretch goals. Can you really have any goals related to your baby? But I just felt like it would be weird to not include stuff about him because that is a huge part of my life. I would like him to go at least 4 hours between feeds at night. I have no control over this goal, but it's a wish. It's a dream. We will see. I would love to continue breastfeeding. That is something that I want to continue doing until the end of this year and beyond. Who knows how far beyond, but that is also something that I want to do. And then also doing some starting solids, some baby-led weaning. This is something that I have not looked into yet. Rowan is 5 months, so he is almost at the age where you start introducing solid foods. So that is a whole other thing. I've not really looked into it yet, so I have no idea where to even start. My main worry about it is that it already feels like I've got no time. So where do I find the time to also make him food? What? So we'll see. That's going to just be another thing to embark on over the next few months and figure out. I think my goal is to like do it without stressing and have a good time and try not worry too much. That's the goal. So the next goal is a bookish one. I have some reading priorities for the end of the year. I am currently listening to The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwreck, which is the 3rd book in like the Montague siblings series. Is it a trilogy? Is this the last one? I don't know. Thoroughly enjoying. And then I also have ready to listen to Carrie Soto is Back, which is the new Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and I'm very excited because I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. And then I also have Infamous, which is Lex Crouch's recent book, ready to listen to. So those are my 3 like audio book priorities. And then I still have the physical copy of Don't Forget to Scream, the book with all the essays about motherhood, on my bedside table. It has not been touched in a while, but like I said, physical books, it's hard to find the time to read them, but I would like to finish reading the essays in that book before the end of the year. And hey, like I do a lot of walking around with Rowan and listening to audiobooks and podcasts, so maybe I'll get through all of these and get to add some more to it. But those are the ones that, at least for now, I'm like, these are my priorities. I think at the beginning of the year, I set a 20 book year goal thing on the story graph. Let me check where I'm at now, actually. Let's see if I finish these 4 books, where that will put us. Because there is absolutely no way, like I knew going into this year that I was not going to be setting a 40 or 50 book goal. My goal is 20 books. I have currently read 13. 2 books until you're back on track. You can do this. Okay, so if I read those 4 books, that will take me to 17. Wait, hang on a second. Do all of Rowan's children's books count, and do rereads count? Because I have read The Very Hungry Caterpillar about a dozen times. Does that count? I feel like there needs to be a separate app or like a separate filter where you can like log children's books, but then maybe it doesn't count towards your book goal. Because if children's books counts, I've smashed my goal this year. Maybe even 50 books. Maybe even reach that if you include the rereads. On to some more serious personal goals. I've got some health issues going on, fun times, that I would like to get sorted, or at least just to continue the process of getting sorted. So I've had a few leakages with my stoma bag. I actually think I may have sussed that one out by myself, but I still want to talk to my stoma nurse about it. My vulva is playing up and my vagina is playing up. My rectum is playing up. Like, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And anyone with a disability, anyone with a chronic illness, or anyone who's trans and non-binary, like navigating the healthcare system, will know that dealing with a lot of this stuff involves a lot of self-advocacy and a lot of persistence. And so, yeah, my goal is to persist and just keep going and figure it out as we go. Try and maintain as much of a healthy life as possible. Definitely have a very complicated relationship with the word health and healthy. Sort this stuff out. Body, if you could please give me a fucking break. And then finally, kind of related to that, one of my goals is to work on my pelvic floor. So I'll probably go into more detail about this in an episode of the Hormone Diaries, but essentially I had a pelvic floor physiotherapist appointment, and your girl's pelvic floor is tense. It is tight. It is, I don't even know how to describe it, just ooh. And so the physiotherapist gave me some exercises to do to help relax, loosen, stretch, chill out a bit down there. And so that is one of the things that I would like to do. Just add another thing to the things that I need to be doing regularly. So this is different to doing your Kegels. She was even like, I wouldn't recommend you doing your Kegels right now because that's about strengthening your pelvic floor. She's like, we can work on that once your pelvic floor has like relaxed and untensed and chilled out a bit. Maybe I did too many Kegels during pregnancy. I don't know. And now this is making me think that we should absolutely have a pelvic floor physiotherapist expert on the podcast at some point to talk about this topic because there is so much. We did it. We made it. Those are my home stretch goals. I kind of realize now after saying them all out loud that there's quite a lot. Oops. If you would like to keep up to date about how I am doing with my home stretch goals, then the best places for that would either be on Instagram or my Patreon Discord server. We have a whole channel in there where we all keep each other accountable to goals that we're setting or our like just simple to-do lists for the day, and we all cheer each other on. It is glorious and so wholesome and sweet. I love it. Thank you all so much for watching. Do let me know in the comments if you're going to be setting any of your own home stretch goals this year, and do share what they are if you would like to. And I hope that you're all doing well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.